Ozempic or
Chat, I want to watch the video, chat. Because I like to educate myself sometimes.
Manjaro have done what diets and willpower have failed to do so far. Make millions lose massive amounts of weight with seemingly mild side effects. More than 1 in 8 US adults have tried the drugs. For the first time in history, the country's obesity rate actually fell.
Wow! Yeah, but chat, why would he say this while this went to 2020? I think Ozempic, even though very prominent now, I don't think anybody's even heard the term in 2020. No? 2020? I would have thought 2024 or 5.
Now, since obesity is one of the unhealthiest things in the world, this seriously poses the question, should we give these drugs to everyone who is overweight to spark a medical revolution like we did with antibiotics and vaccines?
I disagree.
The obesity trap. At its core, being overweight or obese is a mismatch between how much you eat and how much your body needs. Eat more calories than you burn, and your body will store them as fat. Eat less, and you'll lose it. But just because something depends on what you do, it doesn't mean it's your fault. Your drive to eat is programmed by evolution and can easily hijack your conscious decisions. For most of our history, food was scarce, so when our ancestors found a calorie bomb, binging on it was the best of ideas. The more sugar, fat, and salt, the better. Our brains are wired to love these foods. They bring pleasure, enjoyment, and mental release. This helped us survive in a world where food was the most important thing to worry about each day. And then, the world changed overnight, and suddenly food was cheap, calorie-dense, and hyper-palatable. Our ancient biology hijacked our modern behavior. Most of us can't help ourselves and overeat regularly. Today, over 40% of adults are overweight, and obesity affects 1 billion humans and kills almost 4 million annually. If trends continue, by 2050, 1 in 3 adults on Earth will be obese, and half of humanity will be overweight. Since being overweight is also shamed on top of being unhealthy, we tried to fix our overeating behavior with all sorts of, well, behavioral methods. The world is filled with diets and healthy...
You know what? I would have to see the science on this, because I would, and people say, oh, dude, you don't know, she's not a scientist. I would almost disagree with this. Chat, can I be honest with you? If somebody gets picked on, let's say, for being fat. Hold on now. I know it's terrible to pick on people for being fat. You shouldn't be doing that. I do that sometimes, but I don't think we should do that, right? When somebody does that, how many people will do worse and how many people will correct the behavior, right? That makes sense? I mean, they're already fat. If you compare it to not picking on them, right? You could argue that it has a positive effect. Hold on, that's terrible. I didn't say that. Let's just be
habits campaigns.
Let's just continue. Let's just continue watching the video.
Before knows that it's hard and no fun at all. Not only are you fighting your deep evolutionary programming, you're cutting down on a major source of comfort, social activity, and good feelings. And if you've finally lost weight and want to ease up a little, you're back in the regular world full of amazing foods. Self-regulating around modern food is just too hard. So, almost everybody who loses weight struggles to keep it that way or puts back on even more. So if fixing our habits doesn't work, what if we fix our biology? Before we get there, let's fix something easier first. Directly supports our channel. And now, back to losing weight. Ozempic & Co. Many eating behaviors, eat now or later, chocolate or vegetables, are actually governed by an orchestra of hormones that are not within your control. You're not hungry in...
Go back.
Many eating behaviors, eat now or later, chocolate or vegetables, are actually governed by an orchestra of hormones that are not within your control. You're not hungry in the evening because you decide to be or because this is when your body needs energy, but because your body releases certain hormones. And it turns out your fat is one of the major regulators of this orchestra. If you're overweight or obese, the excess fat is throwing your hormonal orchestra out of tune.
You have to lock
this
in
may
it.
make you more hungry or push you to overeat more, creating insulin resistance that causes type 2 diabetes and so on. We made a video if you want details. But there's one specific hormone that plays its tune quietly in the background, even in obese people. The glucagon-like peptide 1, or GL.
Yo, just make food more expensive. It's not that hard. Make dog shit ass food that is dog shit more expensive. Buddy. Fat people. Yo, okay, no. I have a better one then. My bad. That was bad to say. New take. make it so that the fat people, when there's AI at the checkout, if they're fat as the food is more expensive. Boom, boom, done. Fixed it. Fixed. The fat tax. Okay, if I have a car that's too good, or some sports car in California, I pay more money. If you're fat and it causes a lot of other problems on the system, then where's the fat tax? Explain.
P1. It's one of the hormones your body releases after a meal. It tells your pancreas to release more insulin to keep blood sugar in check and slows down your digestion to keep food in your stomach.
Last part.
First I was going to shit talk you, but to be honest, he's right. Make junk food expensive and healthy, whole foods, organic, etc. cheap and easily accessible.
Now watch this. And then people say, oh dude, what about people that have children or whatever, and then they're fat, and then their children are, that is what you would call a two birds with one stone. You're fixing the children because now they'll be able to eat, and you're fixing the fat person because now they're gonna go skinny. If whatever they were going to eat goes to the children instead, now they have a more balanced diet, they're eating less food, and the children have more to eat. Okay? If you can afford to be a fat ass and your children can't afford to eat food to grow up, then you need to redistribute your food. That's your problem, not the government's problem. Your problem.
And in your brain, it increases your feeling of fullness and being satisfied, curbing your appetite. These effects are usually modest. Once in your bloodstream, GLP-1 disappears in barely 2 minutes, its song quickly fading away. So, one day, scientists had an idea. What if we made artificial copies of GLP-1 that play the same song, but louder and much longer?
The fat
A GLP-1 signal
people to buy food for them.
Okay, then so be it.
stays in your body would boost insulin and silence appetite. The first artificial GLP-1 was approved in 2005 for diabetes and in 2014 for obesity, but the revolution came with semaglutide and tirzepatide, Ozempic and Mounjaro. Really powerful GLP-1 agonists.
Other races are
Yo,
oppressed or
bro.
not. You're a skinny twig. How would you get to speak on overweight people's matters?
Yo.
You're right about shit food being too cheap though, but still fuck you.
What is wrong with you? Should men speak on women's issues? Everybody should be speaking about everybody else's issues. It's how you get the places. Imagine if oh guys, only poor people can help fixing the poor problem. Like, what a stupid fucking take. Like, nobody gives a shit. If somebody can have a positive outlook or positive change, who cares what race they are, what sex they are? Nobody gives a shit, dude. That's fucking weird. Like, fuck you.
That play their songs in your bloodstream for up to a week. They send out a loud and steady signal that dials down your appetite 24/7. You still enjoy food, but you feel full and satisfied much sooner, making it easy to not overeat. And since the song never really switches off, you feel less hungry throughout your day, making you eat less often. How intensely you feel hunger is largely genetic, so especially people who suffer from food noise, a constant urge to eat, feel a huge psychological relief from the drug. Finally, their body stops screaming at them. Suddenly, your...
Chat, I feel like this video is half right, half... And you're gonna say, oh, this is research. I think it's gonna... bad wording. Well, listen, if you have not been eating a lot of food, right? Things happen in your tummy, and you don't want to eat that much food. Yo, if you haven't been eating food at all, or not a lot, when you get the food, you're full almost instantly. If you feel like you want to eat a lot, you've been eating a lot. I mean, dude, don't word it in a way that's, oh guys, I'm the victim of my stomach. That, come on.
Dieting without expending willpower, without really thinking about it. It feels magically effortless. By changing your biology, a drug changed your behavior. But, is this a good thing? Miracle drugs. Many people try a crash diet at some point in their lifetime, and it's not that crash diets don't work, they do. You can lose 20% of your weight in 3 months, from 95 to 75 kilos, or 130 to 105.
Wow.
But such a sudden drop is not very healthy,
Yeah,
and for the vast majority, the weight will come back within a year. Diets that are sustainable are actually not diets, but long-term lifestyle changes. But this is painfully slow, so a lot of people quit out of frustration. And among those disciplined enough, results are pretty modest, 5 to 10% of weight lost in a year. The new drugs change that completely. In 3 months, you can lose 10% of your initial weight, 3 months later, over 15, and after a year, you may reach more than 20%, a level of weight loss that used to only really be achievable through bariatric surgery. In other words, GLP-1 drugs make excess weight melt away.
Yo, now let me guess. Some people, they were born with a stomach massive. It didn't stretch because they ate 5 whole chickens in one sitting. No. It's because it had to. It expanded past all. Dude, it just had to. Like, come on, bruh. That's cap. You know that's cap.
Bariatric surgery. In other words, GLP-1 drugs make excess weight melt away like nothing before. We can't stress enough at how unhealthy obesity is, causing everything from diabetes
Some
to
genetically,
heart attacks
yeah,
and
but
cancer.
not to the point.
So the consequences for health are stunning. Treatment with semaglutide cuts your risk of stroke or heart attack.
Food cannot make your stomach bigger? Wait, really? I thought I could stretch it, no? Yeah, if you eat 5 chickens every day, it'll stretch. Yo, yeah, exactly. No. Fat propaganda is actually getting worse than anti-fat propaganda. Yo, I'm fighting back. F you. I'm not getting propagandized against, man. Jesus.
By 20%. 17 months of tirzepatide crashes your chances of developing diabetes by 66%. They also reduce sleep apnea, improve kidney and liver function, lower inflammation, cut cancer risk, and may potentially slow Alzheimer's. They might even boost fertility, as obesity often disrupts hormones and increases complications during pregnancy. And there may be more positive long-term effects. Some of these benefits are a direct result of weight loss, but intriguingly, they sometimes occur regardless of how much weight has been lost, and some have been seen in patients who weren't obese to begin with. We don't know why yet, but it seems like turning up the GLP-1 signal is synchronizing the whole metabolic orchestra, restoring a balance between brain, gut, and body. And, as if that weren't enough, GLP-1 drugs may also quiet other cravings. They seem to reduce the use of alcohol, nicotine, cannabis, and opioids. Large trials are underway to confirm these effects.
Yeah, but chat, isn't this difficult? It takes a long time to understand those because one could be the result of the other, like a chain. Like if you're some activities are paired together, some things go together.
If the results hold, they could become something unprecedented,
like
real anti-addiction drugs. But of course, there are side effects. Most commonly nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation. Not fun, but usually harmless and fleeting for the vast majority of patients. More serious stuff
worst,
like pancreatitis, kidney problems, or gallbladder disease do happen, but for well under 5% of people. Apart from this, the main downside of GLP-1 drugs may come from their greatest strength, rapid weight loss. If you don't actively check...
That's a therapy before. That's like that would be dozens of millions.
What you eat, taking these drugs is just like an unhealthy crash diet. Any steep calorie deficit requires resistance training and plenty of protein, or else you'll lose a lot of muscle along with the fat. That's harmful at any age, but especially after 40, when building muscle gets harder and the risk of falls starts to rise. So, while these drugs change your biology, they don't do all the work for you. Staying healthy.
Yeah, can I be honest with you? This video is oversimplified. Getting me going from the video. Yo, you act like I don't know what I'm watching. I literally called it out for being oversimplified earlier. It doesn't have the whole picture. Can I be honest with you? Being fat f***s you over. Like, bro, your body is screaming for help in almost every possible way. Like, yes, this is not great. It's not fantastic. But compare that to dying over time. Yeah, I mean, it kind of wins in that way. And yet you can say, oh yeah, it's Band-Aid fix. I'd rather get a Band-Aid fix and no fix at all. I mean,
healthy
dude,
still requires you to adopt healthy habits. After about a year, the weight loss slows down and eventually stops in most people. At this point, you usually stop using the medication. If you use that time to change your eating habits, you have a really good chance of keeping the lost weight off. But about 25% regain a significant chunk, and some 20% put back on all of it. So, for many, maintaining the results may mean staying on the drug forever. Is this a bad idea? Well, we don't know. The newest generation of drugs is just too new, so there's no long-term data. The first GLP-1s from 2005 haven't shown major issues. Based on what we know today, it seems pretty clear that living with the drugs looks much healthier than living with obesity.
Yeah.
Conclusion and opinion. A recent study modeled what would happen if millions of US adults who are obese or overweight got GLP-1 drugs for life. In just 2 years, about 50% of all obesity in the country would vanish. Over the years, it would prevent 26 million cases of diabetes, 13 million cases of heart disease, and 5.5 million premature deaths, which seems like a pretty good thing. And new drugs that are in final trials promise to work even better. Defeating obesity suddenly feels within reach. Right now, the biggest obstacles are actually supply shortages and high prices. But these are artificial problems. In the long run, increased production and plummeting costs seem almost guaranteed. So,
I mean, you're spending time doing less dishes, less cooking, recovering from eating too much fucking food, and being on the bathroom, yo.
should we just inject obesity away? Well, for now at least, it seems that there are few downsides, although please don't listen to internet videos and talk to your doctor before you make any decisions for yourself.
Yeah, classic. Except in America, doctors are fucking paid off to promote and prescribe you whatever highest bidder of motherfucking medicine, so you get fucked over anyway. I mean, are we?
Decisions for yourself.
Don't kid me
It's
here.
also
I mean,
important to remember that while these drugs are immensely helpful, they are not magic. They make a hard thing easier, but it still requires you to change your habits and put in some effort. But even with all of these caveats, it seems the future just got a whole lot healthier. If you're looking for sciencey product...
No, it's just true. They go to college for 9 years, it's not true. What does that have to do with anything? I don't even know what kind of argument that is.